Members, you are hereby summoned to attend the monthly meeting of the Environment and Regeneration Committee, which shall be a hybrid meeting conducted remotely via WebEx and physically in the Council Chambers, Staban, on Wednesday, the 14th of May at 4 p.m. And I will hand over to Karen for members' attendance and apologies.
Thank you, Chair. Alderman Derek Hussey.
Aye.
Alderman Keith Kerrigan.
Yep.
Alderman Julie Middleton, I think, is online.
Here, Karen.
Thank you. Councillor Paul Boggs.
And Karen.
Councillor John Boyle. Councillor
Apologies for Councillor Boyle, Karen.
Okay, thank you.
And I'm here.
Thank you. Councillor Caitlin Deaney.
And Sean.
Thank you. Councillor Alex Duffy. Okay, that's fine. Councillor Sean Fleming. Oh, there he is now. Councillor Fleming is now online. Councillor Emma McGinley is in the chamber. Councillor Rory McHugh is in the chamber. Councillor Pat Murphy is in the chamber. Councillor Declan Norris is in the chamber. Councillor Martin Riley is online. And Councillor Tierney.
Online, Karen.
Online. Thank you. Okay, thank you, Chair.
Thank you, members. Broadcasting statement. I'd like to remind everyone physically present at this meeting or in attendance remotely that this meeting will be broadcast live to the internet and will be capable of repeated viewing. This broadcast may be terminated or suspended in accordance with our protocol. Due to your attendance at this meeting, you're consenting to being filmed and to use and storage of those images for broadcasting or training purposes and for the purpose of keeping historical records and making those records available to the public. Members and approved speakers are reminded to only have their mics and cameras on while speaking at the meeting and to use the chat facility to highlight a request to speak. A copy of the Council privacy notice may be found on the Council website www.derrystaban.com. Fourth item is declaration of members' interest. If anyone wishes to make a declaration at this stage or as we raise the items, see anything. So our next item is chairperson's business. Only very quickly. I do note that council have put out a campaign there recently in regards to our social media campaign in regards to dogs and dog fouling taking place within cemeteries. And I know there was incidents and very distressing for in Castlereagh Cemetery for individuals whereby there had been dog fouling on their loved ones' graves. And I'm just asking the question: is there any need for dogs to be allowed in cemeteries at all? But as I say, maybe there is a remit in that. But as I say, particularly the like of our cemetery, there was issues raised in regards to when there had been sheep had inadvertently got in, but the owner of said livestock got them removed straight away as soon as he was notified of it. But as I say, maybe in some of the larger cemeteries it's different. But the like of Castlereagh and that, I don't think there's really a need to have animals in it at all. But it's just a point that I wanted to raise. Thank you, Karen.
Through you, Chair, members. Our current policies is that obviously dogs have to be under control and they should really be on leads within the cemeteries. Certainly it's something that we can review as officers and review incidents of any complaints or whatever that we have. Conor, do you want to add anything to that?
No, there should be signage at most cemeteries advising owners that the dogs must remain on leads under their control at all time. But we liaise with their colleagues and the dog control team and look to inspections across the Sitting District. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you. And apologies, I had sorry, Alderman Hussey.
Different.
1 minute, Alderman Hussey. I had Alderman Middleton had raised with me at the start of the week and I'd forgot about her. Sorry, Julie, go ahead.
Thank you for letting me in, Chair, and it's nothing serious. So I just wanted to recognise your year as Chair. This is why I wouldn't tell you what I was coming on about. So I just wanted to recognise your year as Chair, congratulate you on a really good year and good year as Chair, to acknowledge our Deputy Chairperson and also to thank all of the Environment Regeneration staff team under Karen's lead. It's been fantastic working on the many projects and working through issues with you as well as all the other councillors. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Middleton. Councillor McGinley.
Chair, and just on behalf of the Sinn Féin team on the committee, we want to thank you for the year, and also thanks to Councillor Sean Fleming, who's the Vice Chair, who had stepped in a couple of wee times throughout the year. There's been a lot of work that's happened this year, so our thanks as well also to the Environment Regeneration Directorate. It's been a massive year and we look forward to next year. Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry, Councillor Norris.
just same as everybody else, I'd just like to thank you for your year from the SDLP team and Sean for assistant as well. Thank you, Nick.
Thank you, Alderman Hussey.
Thank you, Chair, for a professional and efficient year in the chair, but I would expect nothing less from a fellow Derek councillor.
Thank you, Alderman Hussey. And I do thank you all very much for your kind remarks, and I do thank Councillor Fleming as well for stepping in into this role as role as Vice Chair as well. And thanks for all the officers. Again, I was going to thank them at the end, but thanks to them all for all the support and all the assistance, and all the staff as well for Jill for keeping me right, and for the IT team there for trying to keep me right as well. So no, it has been very, very much appreciated. And just on that point, as Alderman Hussey raised, I will come back to you, Alderman Hussey. We have 30 items on the agenda, so we will be efficient on it today. But you have about a chairperson's business, Alderman Hussey.
So really following on from the social media campaign in reference to dog fighting, and I'm sure that councillors from our own area are aware of water safety issues and interference with water safety equipment. It has occurred again in the Castlederrick area this time. Previously, it was Newton Stewart was suffering. Castlederrick area this time, and I just wonder if we're doing a social media campaign on something like dog fighting, might it be suitable to see if something can be pursued along with community rescue teams in regard to the issue of leave the stuff alone on the rivers. Thank you.
Yep, through you, Chair, members, we're happy to take that forward with the relevant teams. Thank you.
Thank you, members. Item 6 is matters arising from open minutes on the 9th of April. Has anyone any matters arising which they wish to raise? Don't see anything. We will move then to item 7, which is the annual service plan for the Environment Regeneration Directorate, and that will be Karen.
Yep, through you, Chair, members, the purpose of the report is to seek your approval to adopt the service plan for 25-26 and also to consider some of the outcomes and achievements during 24-25. Members, you're aware of our statutory performance improvement regime, and section 2 of your report, members, outlines all of the services that we provide within the Directorate, which is quite extensive. I think in terms of the key issues, the service plan outlines the purpose of the Directorate, the services we provide, and a summary of resources, some of the achievements of 24-25, and lays out improvement objectives and improvement plans and measures of success for 25-26. And members, just in addition to the provision of our day-to-day services, we have had a number of specific achievements which are noted in section 3 of your report. I'm not going to go through them in detail, members, but it's there for your information, and significantly more information within the body of the service plan as well. So members, in terms of, sorry, just trying to get through all of the achievements, there's quite a few. In terms of the implications, we strive to contribute towards corporate objectives and tackle the climate emergency in particular throughout the Directorate. We have a net revenue budget within the Directorate of nearly 32 million, and we take forward a significant percentage of the Council's capital development programme. And so members, I'm happy to take any questions or any comments that members have, and we would be grateful if you would adopt the service plan for 25-26. Thank you.
Anyone wish to comment on the service? Councillor McGinley.
Good, Chair, and I'll be quite brief. I think the report really does outline all of the fantastic work that's been going on over the past year. So I'm not going to regurgitate what Karen has just gone through, but just to thank the team and to propose the recommendation that we adopt the plan going forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Norris.
Again, I totally agree with everything Councillor McGinley said, and will second it.
Alderman Middleton.
Thank you, Chair, for letting me in. On behalf of the DEP, we welcome the report and thank the team for all the work that has been done and all the work that's yet to be done. So thanks very much for a very comprehensive and exciting action plan. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Hussey.
Thank you, Chair. Like others, sincere thanks to all staff in the department for all of the work that's been done. Though at the tail end of the report, we have the red, green light system with particular regard to planning. I have a lot of red lights there. Is that something that is being addressed going forward? Thank you.
Yeah, I think through you, Chair, members, the performance improvement measures, you know, depend on an awful lot of various factors, in particular in terms of our planning and some of the processing of applications, etc. And members will be fully aware of that, especially the members who sit on our planning committee, etc. There is, as members know, a service improvement plan in place for our planning service, which we have begun to implement and hopefully will continue to do so. There's also a number of specific initiatives in regard, for example, to the implementation of quality submissions from applicants, etc., which all should help us with the timelines in terms of some of those applications, which will help with the overall timelines of being able to process the applications. Members are also aware that there have been in the past resource issues in relation to statutory consultees, etc., which unfortunately impacts on how long it takes us to process applications. Again, this is an issue that is being taken very seriously by the Department for Infrastructure and the Minister, and so we hope that again will help to get addressed. It depends, you know, month to month, but I think that the general trend is that we're beginning to tackle some of these issues, and some of these projects that we're implementing within the team will help us as well. So thank you, Chair.
Through you, Chair, sincere thanks to Karen, and I appreciate that the issues are being recognised and, more importantly, being addressed, and I thank officers for that. Thank you, Chair.
you. And Karen, if you do a couple of very, very quick wee points, I was just going to ask in regards to the table with there's a lot of the colours in it. You have the two amber colours in there. One's in regards to the green infrastructure, the acquisition and disposal of green estate, and the other's in regards to deposit and removal of waste at recycling centres. And they're the two are kind of the higher risk elements there. Are we content enough with the controls on those? That we're content enough that those items they are higher risk, but we're on top of it in regards to the issues of it. And then I've one very brief one then. It's the wrong time of the year, but it's the time of the year for raising it. I know that it mentions the Christmas lights, and it mentions there about it was within our own teams who erected and removed the lights from the rural settlements. And is that envisaged to be again? Have we capacity within our teams to do that this year, and will that maybe reduce then the tender prices that we're putting out?
Yeah, through you, Chair, members, the risk register is obviously something that we review regularly, and we consider the controls we need to put in place. And we, from time to time, some of them go into amber, but we are satisfied that we're controlling them as best we can. Sometimes that means that they still stay amber, but there's certainly the control measures are there. I'll bring Conor in terms of Christmas lights if you want to.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. Through you, we intend to expand the work of the internal teams this year in the rollout of Christmas lights, and with probably the exception of just Derry City Centre and Strabane Town Centre, that the teams would complete the majority of the works across the city and district. So we have additional capacity, and we also have more time this year. Members will be aware that it was kind of the end of September last year before we were able to mobilise, but we're planning to mobilise earlier this year, and that will allow us to do more internally, and hopefully that will bring down costs.
Thank you. Members, what's been proposed by Councillor McGinley, seconded by Councillor Arse, that we accept the service plan and agreement. Yeah. Moving on to item 8, is a request for a beverage station on council owned green spaces, and that's Karen.
Yeah, members, the purpose of this report is to seek your endorsement to develop a process to facilitate third-party operators in order to sell beverages and refreshments on council-owned green infrastructure land. We've had a number of requests in the last few weeks from private operators wishing to operate within our facilities. which members we believe is very positive. However, we need to ensure that there's a proper process put in place to grant necessary permissions and secure premiums as assessed by LPS. So members, we are in the process of engaging with other councils in terms of how this actually happens in practice in other areas, and we will bring an updated item back to you at a later stage when more detail is obtained. We think that it's possible we'll need a formal procedure for managing requests and some sort of competitive process to ensure consistency and transparency, but we will include that in a future report to members. So as we said, LPS would need to be engaged to value premiums due at a later stage. And today the recommendation is that you're asked to endorse the approach and that we bring a further report back to you as soon as we can. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Councillor Boggs is the first speaker.
Thank you very much, Chair, and thanks, Karen, for the report, and happy to propose it on behalf of ourselves. I think it's a positive, and it shows that we're willing to work with people who come to us with ideas, but also as well to try and get as many people on our Greenway network. And I think now is the time to look at something like this as we start to hopefully build more network right across the city and district. These are the kind of things we need to be planning for, whether it is adding an additional space in that is suitable, because we may need to look at some of the Greenway infrastructure that we've already built to make sure that we can accommodate some of this stuff. So happy enough to have a conversation at a later stage when there's more details there, but fully agree that it needs to be done in a way that makes sure that everybody's on an equal playing field, and that there's a proper process in place. So thank you very much. Thanks, Chair.
Alderman Middleton and then Alderman Hussey. So Julie.
Thanks, Chair, for letting me in. Just to say, very much welcome this. And on behalf of the DUP, we're happy to second the proposal. We look forward to further report through, and I do concur with Councillor Boggs. It's really positive that when people are coming forward with ideas, we're taking those on board, and I think this will be warmly welcomed by the public. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Hussey.
Thank you, Chair. I'm very content to endorse the recommendation that has been proposed and seconded. It's the request is reflective of the footfall that is occurring, and that footfall is occurring because of the quality of what this council is providing, and that is to be welcomed in the extreme. Thank you.
You members were in agreement. Oh, sorry, Councillor Norris.
Sorry, I just totally concur with everybody. You know, it's a great thing. We just need to get it all set up. You know, that we're right in what we're doing, and especially concur with Councillor Boggs of planning forward. You know, we build wee areas in and all the rest, so people can get set up and all safely and etc. I totally agree. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Norris. And we're in agreement, members. That's item 8. Then moving on to item 9, which is Acorn Farm, the booking for the annex classroom. That'll be Karen.
Thank you, Chair. And the purpose of the report is to seek members' approval for the introduction of a booking form which sets out the pricing and terms and conditions of hire for the annex classroom at the Acorn Farm. And it's to be used in conjunction with our council's facility hire policy, which is attached to your report today. Members, you're aware of Acorn Farm, our exciting development, and it is nearing the end of construction. So it will become operational later in the year. The annex classroom has been designed as a flexible multi-purpose space, which functions as a demonstration kitchen and will be the only bookable venue at the farm for community workshops, environmental learning sessions, and small-scale meetings or events in line with the objectives of the farm. Members, we have developed a booking form which provides advice for people who wish to use it, and the booking form would come into effect once construction has completed and we have settled the staff in on site operationally. So the charges that are associated with the venue hire will contribute towards the running costs of the farm, and officer time will be required to manage bookings and monitor use. We have had legal services review the charging policy and booking form, and that have confirmed that appropriate terms, liabilities and disclaimers are included. So members, you're asked to approve the introduction of the booking form, which lays out the pricing and terms and conditions, and that we will review that within 12 months of the operational use commencing. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Karen. Councillor Deeney. Caitlin.
Thank you, Chair. Just to say, happy to propose, and it's really exciting to see the movement on Acorn Farm and the end of construction in sight. I've been walking past it these last few weeks and it's just looking great. And the booking system for the community learning and environmental awareness and the meetings and the events is very clear. So thank you for the report and just happy to propose.
Thank you, Caitlin. Members, have a seconder for said item, or anyone else was? Emma was the first one I seen, so I'm assuming, and Emma's, I'm assuming a seconder, but Alderman Hussey wishes to comment.
Yeah, very brief comment, Chair. Obviously a welcome development and a welcome addition to facilities available to the community. And I note that in the costings, there is an additional staffing costs over and above. That seems to be over and above the actual hire of the venue. How is that calculated and what is it actually involved?
Colin, can you take that one? If you give me a sec.
Yeah, excuse me, through you, Chair. The additional charge is £40 per hour. In terms of how that is over and above any hour that, say, if somebody was to book the facility for a full day, there's a charge, and a half day. We really don't see that being happening, because I would say that people would book the facilities for the half day slot or the full day slot. And in many cases, what it is probably to stop overrun in terms of booking and hire facilities. So in terms of how the actual cost is broken down, I don't have that detail, but I can come back on that.
Yeah, through you, Chair. Members, it's really over and above the half day or the full day cost. So I suppose to encourage people to stick to the time that they have been allocated. But again, as Colin said, we don't really envisage it happening very often at all.
Alderman Hussey, are you content with the response? Yeah, that's grand. We're content then with item 9 has been supported and proposed and seconded. Item 10 is Acorn Farm, and that's the volunteering procedure, and that will be Karen again.
Thank you, Chair. And the purpose of this report is to seek members' approval for the introduction of a volunteering operational procedure and handbook for Acorn Farm, as well as a code of conduct and a complaints procedure to support and regulate volunteer engagement. Members, you will be aware of the purposes laid out in section 2 of your report of Acorn Farm, and we do believe that there will be volunteering opportunities that once the site becomes operational, and we really want to make sure that we're preparing properly for that. So therefore we prepared an operational procedure which sets out the approach to engaging volunteers at the farm and the safeguards, expectations and procedures in place to ensure that it's a safe, welcoming and well managed volunteering environment. Members, the volunteer and operational procedure has been developed and is attached to your report, as is a code of conduct and a complaints procedure. And we do believe that these documents will enhance the governance and operational effectiveness of the volunteering programme, whilst ensuring compliance with relevant legal and safeguarding requirements. Members, we don't believe there are any direct financial implications associated with this. However, we will need officer time to manage the implementation, induction process and ongoing oversight. So members, you're asked to approve the introduction of the operational procedure and accompanying handbook, the volunteer application form, the volunteer code of conduct and complaints procedure. And again, members, we would review these after 12 months and bring back an evaluation to members in relation to this. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Karen. We will note Councillor Boyle has arrived online, the meeting, so he has put his apologies for his late arrival. And I do have 2 speakers online. I have Councillor Deeney and then Alderman Middleton. So, Caitlin.
Thank you, Chair. Again, just really exciting, and I really hope there's a good uptake. The volunteer handbook is looking great, and it's very accessible for individuals considering volunteering. So just to say well done to the team, and thank you again, and happy to propose.
Thank you, Caitlin. Julie.
Thanks, Chair, for letting me in. I just can definitely concur with the previous speaker's comments. I think this is a great move. It's great to have this in place now, and volunteering is really a major heart in so many organisations and wonderful places in our city and district. So I'm really glad that we're at the forefront with this and very happy to second on behalf of the DEP. Thank you.
Thank you, Julie. That's proposed and seconded. Members, we're content with that item. Yep. In that case, we'll move on now to item 11, which is toilet facilities at the Northwest Model Aircraft Club, and that will be Conor.
Thanks, Chair. This is to advise and seek members' recommendations with regard to requests from the Northwest Model Aircraft Club to provide toilet facilities at their facility located on the former Doncaster site at New Buildings. Members may be aware that the former Derry City Council operated a landfill site at New Buildings that closed during the mid to late 1980s, with the Model Aircraft Club subsequently granted a 25-year lease for a portion of the site in 1993 at an annual premium of £275 per annum. The lease was reviewed and renewed in 2019, with the club subsequently given a 20-year tenure to be reviewed every 5 years at an initial premium of £550 plus VAT. More recently, the club have been in contact with officers regarding the provision of toilet facilities at the site, as it is now in use all year round, and the absence of the toilet facilities is impacting on club activities. The officer team have reviewed options in discussion with the club to include connecting the facilities to the main infrastructure out on the main road, through to the provision of a portality serviced on a regular basis. Given the lack of infrastructure on site, and as I said, the main connection being several hundred metres away, the costs associated with the installation and management, and the costs associated with the installation and management of a septic tank, it has been determined with the club that the most cost-effective option would be the installation of a portality serviced on a regular basis, with the club keen to explore this option. The club are keen that council manage this process, including the associated payments to the toilet provider, with initial inquiries indicating that a weekly hire cost of circa £40 plus VAT, inclusive of servicing. This cost could reduce depending on the servicing frequency. In consideration of the above, the officer team recommended that LPS be engaged to review the lease arrangements and to consider any uplift in costs associated with the council providing the toilet, albeit that the club accept that they will have to bear the cost of providing the toilet and associated servicing. In terms of financial implications, the LPS review is consistent with the terms of the lease and will ensure that council is receiving a fair income for the use of the facilities, and members are therefore asked to approve the engagement of LPS in respect of the provision of the portable toilet on site and a review of the lease with a report back to committee in due course. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you very much, Conor. I have two speakers online, and that is Councillor Duffy and Alderman Middleton. So it'll be Alex first.
Thank you, Chair. First of all, to thank Conor and his team after all this time and working their way through it and finding a solution. And of course, the solution has to be agreeable to the club out there, who's the customer and who's using it. So hopefully it does suit them as well. The solution seems a viable one, and a lot of hard work has went into it. And Conor and his team have explored all options, and having brought this to this committee's last year, after being approached by the club, it's good to see finally a solution, and as I say, hopefully it is agreeable to the club, and the guys out there will have a toilet eventually. So thank you, Conor and team.
Thank you.
And happy to propose.
Thank you, Councillor Duffy, for proposing that. Alderman Middleton, Julie.
Thank you, Chair, for letting me in, and also thank you, Conor, for the report, and thank you, Conor, and your team for the work that you've done alongside the club and finding a positive solution. So I really concur with all of Councillor Duffy's comments. It's important that we bring the club along through the different steps of the process as well as the decision. But no, we're really happy to see this work that has happened. I think that hopefully this is a really positive decision, and I'm very, very happy to second. Thank you.
Thank you, Julie. Councillor Norris.
Same as previous councillors, I was approached as well by the club, and you're talking to them, and hopefully this is a solution just to get sorted out now and move on. So thank you so much, and thanks for Conor's team.
Thank you. Alderman Hussey.
Just for clarification, Chair, 3.4 and 3.5, the weekly cost circa £40 plus VAT, inclusive of servicing. And then it says in 3.5, the club accept they will have to bear the cost of providing the toilet and associated servicing. So essentially, what we're being asked to do, as I understand it, is simply approve that the toilets would go on site. Is that it? Or are we being asked to pay the roughly £2,000 per year that it would be to service them at £40 per week?
It's kind of both. Chair, the club are happy to pay the money, but they want council to make the arrangements and be responsible for making the payments to the hire company, and we will claim through the lease.
So essentially, council are the conduit. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. And that's proposed and second, members, and I don't see anyone against it, so we'll deem that item 11 as approved. Item 12 is the removal of a bus shelter at Springtown Road, and that will be Conor to speak on that.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. And it's to advise your members with regard to requests received in DFI with regard to removal of a council-provided bus shelter at Springtown Road. Council has received a request from DFI to remove the bus shelter to enable the replacement of a vehicle retention barrier. DFI have advised that the bus shelter, and that's included Appendix 1, is too close to the barrier to allow deflection should the barrier be hit by a vehicle. And in any case, should the barrier deflect a vehicle under a collision scenario, anyone in the shelter would be at serious risk. There's another bus shelter on the same route, 300 metres away, with Translink NI confirming that they have no objection to the removal of the bus shelter, as it is lightly used. The bus shelter can be safely removed and installed at an alternative location within the district. In terms of the financial provision, the bus shelter can be moved, refurbished and installed in a more suitable location within the district where there's a greater need. And members are therefore asked to endorse the removal of the existing bus shelter at Bantry Road, Springtown, with the shelter reused at a more suitable location within the district. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you, Conor. Councillor McGinley. Emma.
Good, Chair, and thank you for the report, Conor. I've spoken with Councillor Heaney, who would be one of our elected reps in that area, and he had some concerns about the entire removal on that side of the road. I know there's one 300 metres away, but is that on the opposite side of the road? Where this one is he was of the view that it was quite heavily used, and is it possible to explore moving it further up the road away from the crash barrier? Is that something that Translink would consider in terms of moving the bus stop, or is it something that we can explore?
Chair, there are a number of bus stops above and below the existing shelter, with the one below having an encased and enclosed shelter in it. I think the issue is that barrier runs nearly the entire length up to, I can't remember the name of the housing development above it. So anywhere along that road, the same issue arises in terms of the deflection from the crash barrier. So we're not sure if we can get a suitable alternative location on that section of road for it, given the issues raised.
Through you, Chair. Members, if it would be helpful, Conor can maybe speak to Councillor Heaney, and we could defer this item to full council if you want to take the decision at full council, but it's up to you.
Can I make a proposal that we do that? It's just to make sure that the local representatives, because he was of the view when I was speaking to him at this shelter is quite heavily used, and he raised some concerns, but he wasn't able to come to today's meeting. So can I propose that we do defer it to full council so that those conversations can happen?
Second, proposed and seconded, then deferred the item 12 regarding the removal of bus shelter. Content, members? That's grand. That's deferred then to full council. Item 13 is the updated Legionella control procedure, and that will be Conor.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. And just to seek members' endorsement with regard to the annual review of council's procedure in respect of Legionella management, with the council to include details of key staff roles and responsibilities within the procedures. The report sets out the background to Legionella and the implications in terms of health and so on, and sets out, in addition to that, the responsibilities on organisation and managing stored water within their facilities in terms of...
Chair, just for clarity, is this just a continuation of the present situation?
Yep.
I so propose the recommendation.
Propose Alderman Hussey, seconded Councillor Norris, and we're content, members, with that item. Yep. Right. Members, the following 9 items are open for information. I will go through them, and if you wish to speak, indicate in whatever form you feel appropriate. Number 14, bulk control applications. With the greatest respect, I don't think I've ever seen anyone look to speak on bulk control applications, but it's there. Item 15.
Congratulations to the building control team.
Item 15, proposed disabled parking bays across the city and district. No one wishes to speak. Item 16 is the Maboy update from DARA, and I do have Alderman Middleton here who wishes to speak on item 16. Julie?
Thanks, Chair, for letting me in. Just very, very briefly, I'm thinking I'm reading this right. I just wanted to put on record that I'm just really deeply disappointed to see that the court case, and I know we can't discuss it, but the court case has no date now and has been moved. We had been seeing steady progress, and this is a halt that we don't need. And I just wanted to put that on record. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Julie. No one else was to speak on 16? No. Item 17 as the flooding update. Does anyone, Councillor Boggs?
Just very briefly, Chair. You hate to talk about flooding when the sun's shining outside, but after the sun always comes the rain. And I'm just wondering, I had asked in relation to the sandbags and talking to our resilience team around cleanup after floods. I'm just wondering, has there been any progress, or could we get an update for the next time round, because those ones are still sitting there, and I envisage that over the summer period, if there is rain like we usually see, that may still be the case again.
Through you, Chair, members, it is an issue that they have been engaging with central government on, because really I suppose the issue has arisen because of changes in procedures by central government who no longer collect them. And obviously, you know, as council, we don't have the resources to do that. So I can find out where that's at and we can include it next month in the flooding update report.
Thanks, Chair. Thanks, Karen.
Alderman Hussey?
Sure. Although you have the specific sites there, one of the issues on flooding and ponding in particular is blocked gullies. Is this not a time that the department should be going out and ensuring that their gullies are clear? And I'm particularly mindful of one that has been brought to or a couple that have been brought to my attention on the Moyle Road, just outside Newton Stewart, underneath the bypass, which is sort of a wee forgotten area. So areas like that there, where we find these blocked gullies, I mean, I'm sure they're inspected on a fairly regular basis, but now is the time to get those, ensure that those are cleaned. Thank you.
Through you, Chair, members, we can report that to DFI, but I know that there is also online reporting, and if members have any others that they are aware of, then let us know and we can report it through to them.
Alderman Middleton, Julie?
Thank you, Chair, for letting me in. Thank you, Karen, for your response there. I just wanted to do a here for Alderman Hussey on the gullies thing. This is the time to be clearing the gullies, and whilst yes, we can report them as they block. What you find, especially in the rural, is there's a lot of debris in them, and they might not be blocked just yet. And it won't be evident that they're blocked until we do get the inevitable heavy rainfall. So I just wanted to come in and concur with Alderman Hussey that now would be a very pertinent time, that not even one that's reportable, but that maybe they just do a round of checking, specifically in some of the rural roads where there's a dip in the road, where it's liable to flood. They would know the main spots where it happens from councillors reporting that to them. Thank you.
Thank you, Julie. And just a brief comment, disappointing in regards to Newton Stewart that we didn't get what was needed in regards to try and stop the flooding down Vaughan's home, but as I say, it's all down to money in that regard, and the fact it is a floodplain. But I was interested in regards to the Eglinton there, in regards to even the work that is being proposed to be carried out now in the summer in regard to these leaky dams and on the River Muff there, which may well cause some issue, may reduce. So the intention is to reduce the flow, so to get into when the rivers meet. So I'd say it's another opportunity. It's something they're trying. So anything that can maybe assist. So no, in regards to that item 17, and we're content, members. Item 18 is consultation response.
Apologies. I'd put it, Councillor Riley here, I'd put it in the chat box for item 17.
Sorry, I see that now, Martin. Sorry, go ahead.
I know, thank you, and thanks to the officers for the report. It's just in relation to the Drummahoe aspect. It's quite well, in comparison to previous months, it's quite a substantive update this month. And I'm noting in it that it says that there's a review underway of the estimated delivery costs, which is news to certainly to this committee, because that hadn't been referenced before. So obviously it'll be something we need to keep an eye on. And I suppose through you to the officers, you know, is there just clarification that the letter to the minister on the flooding issues that was subject to a notice of motion at the end of last month's full council, has that been dispatched yet to the minister's office, please? I'm not expecting to have received a reply yet, but just clarification if the letter's gone. Thanks, Chair.
Yeah, through you, Chair, members, the issues, the letters and correspondence to ministers is normally sent out through the Chief Executive's office, and I'm pretty sure that it will have gone, but we can definitely check. Thanks.
Content, Councillor Riley?
Thank you, Chair, that's great.
Thank you. Members, that's item 17. Item 18 is the consultation response on the mineral prospecting licenses. Does anyone wish to speak on it? Item 19 is Living with Water, draft plan consultation. No, I don't see anyone wishing to speak. Item 20 is the Pennyburn Bridge update. Karen wants to comment?
Yeah, through you, Chair. Members, it's just a, I suppose, point out that this is a very positive report in terms of the Pennyburn Bridge project, which members you are aware we completed approximately a year ago, just over a year ago. And apart from the fact that the structure has now secured 4 major awards, it also has had very, very substantial numbers of people using it. So there has been approximately 330,000 journeys over the bridge since the end of April 24. So members, I think it just shows, I suppose, the point that we mentioned earlier when we were talking about businesses using our greenways, that when we put these structures in, they are really well used, and the public really like them and embrace their use. So members, I just think it's important to note that today.
Alderman Hussey?
Thank you, Chair, and it's an excellent report on a piece of infrastructure that has gone on at a very reasonable cost to council. And it's in conjunction with the Greenway. Now, there are 3 of us in the chamber, yourself included, Chair, and Councillor McHugh, who will be aware of the Derg Active Greenway. And I think we're all agreed that a bridge will enhance and link up that entire Greenway system. Is there the potential that that can be scoped out going forward with regard to potential funding? And indeed, I know there may be an issue with some land purchase on one of the landfall sides for a potential bridge. But given the success of the Pennyburn Bridge, I can see the same sort of feedback coming with regard to an alternative bridge on the Derg Active Greenway system. Thank you, Chair.
Yep. Through you, Chair, members, happy to take that on board, and certainly we do always look for opportunities to try and extend the network. As you point out, Alderman Hussey, these projects are hugely fraught with difficulty. They take an awful long time. There isn't always the sources of funding. As members will be aware, this particular project was partially funded by Europe, partially funded by the Department for Communities. So a very, very small cost to council. However, we do always look for the opportunities, and that certainly is on the list for scoping and further development. So happy to take that on board.
Thank you, Chair. I welcome the fact that it is in there somewhere. Just want to prioritise it a wee bit.
Concur with your comments, Alderman Hussey. Councillor Tierney, Brian?
Chair, thank you, and thanks to Karen for that report. I think the headlines of that report point out the benefit that the Pennyburn Bridge has brought, and I hope strengthens the argument that I'm about to make. I've been speaking to some of the businesses in and around Bay Park, and whilst they welcome the added footfall and around the park and down around Pennyburn Bridge, there is extra traffic going down that direction as well, where people are parking their car, running in and around the park, or walking in and around the park and in and around Pennyburn Bridge. I'm wondering, Karen, is there any plans for extra car parking spaces at the Bay Park to facilitate the added footfall? The reason that I ask is because some of the businesses in and around Bay Park have got large 40-foot lorries and tankers who are finding it difficult to reverse in and out of the premises because cars are double parked or parking along that piece of street as you head down towards the park. And they would be keen to see and to engage with council to see if there's any way that parking can be looked at. Whilst, like everyone else, the businesses that I've been talking to welcome the addition of Pennyburn Bridge and welcome the additional footfall that it is taken to that part of the city, but it is causing a wee bit of a problem for them, and they would be interested to see if council will be open to engaging with them around some type of a solution. Thank you.
Yeah, through you, chair members, happy to engage. If you want to maybe perhaps send us the details of the relevant businesses, Councillor Tierney, and we will engage with them directly. Certainly, it's not within our capital plan at the minute for any further parking, but there may well be measures that can be put into place to try and help alleviate the issues in the short term. And indeed, we can look to ensure that the park rangers monitor the situation, etc. But more than happy to engage with the businesses, and if you want to send through details, we can do that.
Thank you. Members, that's item 20. Item 21 is St Columns Park allotment car park. Does anyone wish to raise anything? No. Item 22 is the ban public realm, and Tony wishes to comment on that.
Thank you, Chair. Members, it's just a quick update for you over and beyond the report in relation to Strabane Public Realm. Just to let you know that we have been engaging with some of the businesses on Castle Street in relation to the parking configuration of when, in relation to the street when the scheme's completed. That was conversations were initiated with the Strabane bid, and our proposal is now to continue that engagement directly with the businesses. But in advance of that, we were proposing to convene a member workshop just as a briefing, just to brief our elected members in Strabane Town of obviously the proposals, the design configurations before we commence on that engagement process. And we would be hoping that we would try to do that over the next month or so, but in first instance to bring our members up to speed with what is being proposed.
Councillor Boggs.
Thank you, Chair, and thanks, Tony. I set it down to ask a couple of questions related to this, and one of them was just whatever time the project does come to fruition, because I think that it has gained a lot of business interest waiting on it to come. And now that it is here, the questions have turned from when enough to how does it impact me, or they're expecting the level of disruption that it's going to cause. I mean, I think everybody and are more than happy, hopefully more than happy to put up for the duration to get the end product. But similar to the Melvin multi-sports complex upgrade, the Health and Communities Director has undertaken like a steering group, not so much a working group, with elected members and with those that are impacted sports groups and council officers. Given that this is going to have probably the most disruption for Strabane Town that we've seen in a while, and then leading into the Sunnydale disruption that's going to come after that, then is that something that we could look at through this directorate? That's my first question, but welcome the engagement that has already been ongoing, specifically in relation to Castle Street. The second question I just wanted to ask under it was, I've been working on issues regarding power outages that businesses are experiencing right throughout Strabane Town, but primarily in Abercorn Square and on the back street as well. Now, obviously, it's an NIE issue rather than a council issue, but NIE have informed me that they are keen to get remedial works. Well, they're not calling them remedial works because they don't know if they'll actually fix the problem or not, but they're looking to get works done to upgrade some of the cabling underground, obviously ahead of the public realm. And I just want an update from officers, if you don't mind, about how you have engaged with NIE and whether or not we're confident that they're going to get that work done well before we start to do ours, because I don't want a situation where NIE's works are going to hold ours up because businesses have waited long enough, as I've alluded in my previous question. So if we could get some info on those two, please.
Yeah, through you, Chair, members, we have now you've got regular, well, we've always had regular board meetings for Strabane Public Realm for the last 10 years, but we have them now even more regularly. And certainly all of these issues we have been considering, both in terms of how we as project lead and project sponsor engage with all the relevant stakeholders, and absolutely it's important for us to do that. Again, we want to make sure that the engagement is meaningful, and so they can shape what is going to be happening, but also we can give them the proper information, because the stage we're at the minute is working through towards being able to appoint a contractor who again will have some input into exactly how things will be managed and how any disruption will happen and all those types of things. So as we move closer to the start of the works, more and more engagement will happen, but certainly we will try to engage as comprehensively as we can, and we will flex and change that as we move forward in order to help. We have been thinking about some potential minor design tweaks that might again help and we're working through all of those issues at the minute. In terms of NIE, yes, there has been very significant engagement with NIE, and what our plan is that they will be, if you like, a little bit ahead of us at every time, so that they can come in, have their work done, then we come in and start to actually do the public realm scheme. So all of that engagement is ongoing. It's hugely complex, as you know, but again, nothing that we haven't done many times before. You know, so yes, we do fully recognise that there will be some degree of disruption. We will again keep that as you know, as constrained as we possibly can, but we will always be asking people for their patience throughout that. And again, we will be looking and working with Department for Communities about any other allied regeneration projects we can take forward, either following on from that or in the near future afterwards. So I don't know, Tony, if there's anything more you want to add to that. Okay.
Thank you very much, Chair. Just briefly, thanks, Karen, for that. Just if you'll indulge me as well, Chair, just on the issue of Strabane Town, can I just thank officers, particularly Brian Farrell and his team, for the work that has been done ahead of the Strabane and Lifford Half Marathon on Sunday. There are areas of the town, and I know that they are not our responsibility, and I will have CC'd Karen and Connor on the emails this morning. I know they're not our responsibility, but if we hadn't have taken action this week to get it over, or to trim hedges back and scrape weeds, the town would not be looking, particularly the route for the half marathon would not be looking as well as it is looking at the minute. So I just want to thank officers for their work to try and get resource and to doing that. It's much appreciated, and hopefully it'll be noticed on Sunday as well. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you, Chair. And again, members, we will pass that on to the team, and they really have, we know, stepped up over and beyond what we could expect. And I suppose in these types of circumstances, we like to do that to make sure that we're showcasing the town as best we can. Thank you.
Just a comment. Alderman Hussey.
Chair, it's not on this. I'm seeking permission to go back to item 21 for just a query. Thank you. That was the allotment car park at St. Columns Park, and I presume that is not part of business and communities off-street parking scheme. And I'm presuming that the car park at Vaughan's Home would fall into this sort of remit, similar to St. Columns Park, where we have a car park there. It's not off-street car parking, it's servicing of the facilities there. But I've had concerns expressed to me at the lining, the bays. The lining there has begun to disappear, and a request that would be rejuvenated.
Through you, Chair, members, happy to look into that and see what we can do.
Thank you. Thank you, Alderman Hussey. Thank you, Karen. Members, I am looking for a proposer and seconder to go into confidential. Proposed Councillor Boggs, seconded Councillor McHugh this time. Seen him before Yema this time. So we'll just